2011 Ultimate Builder Custom Bike Show in Greenville, South Carolina. We're talking to Lyle Collotzi from PC32 Incorporated, and he's brought us a performance custom class bike. Let's take a minute and talk about your background, Lyle.
All right, well, I first got into motorcycles at a very young age, but I was not allowed to ride them until I was much older, after I'd been in the military for a few years. My first bike was a Suzuki Katana, actually. From there I went to R6, then a CBR 600RR, and then an R1. And come around 2007, after the loss of my R1, the 1098 had just come out from Ducati, and I took one look at that bike and I thought, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, but there's no way I'll ever be able to afford it. Turns out it was surprisingly affordable. So I sprung for a base model, and I've been running crazy ever since. I've always been interested in mechanicals of things and fixing motorcycles up from the very beginning. I just love taking something and making it new and special and unique. So this was a great opportunity for me to really have some fun with my own bike.
That's kind of unusual, because most people who have a bike never modify them. They seem to be stock all the time.
You know, that's okay. I've never said anything wrong about keeping a bike stock. You probably keep the resale value higher by doing that, in all honesty.
Nobody does.
This is true. For me, my performance mods are always geared toward performance. It's always been about how can I go faster, turn better, and beat the guy in the lane next to me. It's always been, for me, it's always been my goal. It's never just about the bling in the show. There's nothing wrong with the bling in the show, but for me, I want the best performing bike I can get.
And making it yourself or making it yours makes it much more personal.
It very well does. One thing about Ducatis is they're a beautiful bike, but a lot of the people who own them are really particular about keeping them as they are. And so I have turned quite a few heads with this. This isn't even something crazy or major. It's just little things like, you know, spike windshield bolts, or you see here we did a custom cut on the fairings off the regular 1098.
I saw that.
It's to give it a little different style and to really show the inner workings of the motor. That raised a few eyebrows from some of my friends who were like, wow, I don't know if this is going to look good or not. Thankfully, most everyone's been on board with it, and they're really pretty happy with what's come out of this.
What engine modifications have you done?
The engine modifications have been very, very nominal. Canon aftermarket air filter to help it breathe better. A full exhaust system. The headers are from Quat D, an Italian company, and the muffler cans are from FMF out of California, actually.
And titanium?
These are carbon fiber with titanium end caps. The mufflers, and the header, and the headers themselves are stainless steel. Not the highest end spec stuff, but very affordable, which is always good when you're building on a budget.
Let's talk about paint. Have you done anything on that?
Honestly, this is, other than taking it in to get repainted, this is still the factory Ducati OEM yellow, and it's a color that is just near and dear to my heart. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. There actually was one more performance mod. The engine control unit in this bike has been changed out for a unit from the company called Microtech. It's a Microtech 197 unit, and basically it takes everything we love about Power Commander or the Pizzazz module and makes it into a completely replaceable ECU. You take the old ECU out, you put this in, and you have all the abilities that a Power Commander has or a Pizzazz unit has, and then some. You can adjust ignition advancement and fueling and all of that. You can do right through your own laptop. You plug right in and you get to work on it. You throw the bike on a dyno, you can dial it up. Right now this bike's putting out about 150 horsepower, which is pretty good for some pretty basic modifications. The stock on these was about 140-ish, right around that range.
Did you pick it up on the high end or low end?
The good thing about the V-twin is you got an awesome middle end grunt, because the way the V-twin motor throws, as opposed to the inline fours.
Right.
So with this bike, the primary thing that the Microtech and the programming that I did do was it changed everything from just to a much more linear power curve. This bike, if you look at it on the dyno machine, on a stock 1098, you got dips and moves and little bumps in the dyno curve. This one, the line is much more just a straight line. It's also a gained line too. There's a lot more power in this bike. This bike will stand right up first through third, no problem. Just on the back wheel, just as quick as can be.
So essentially with that, you have a bike that's more predictable. The performance is more predictable with the new ECU.
Yes and no. With that much power on tap, this bike will scare the crap out of you. It's gotten me once or twice where it's like, whoa, okay, you know. But I mean, that's said with any big bore bike, any bike with a lot of power. I mean, you see it with the drag racing boosters and everything. There's a lot of power on tap that also just comes out at you. Same thing, but with this bike, it's a lot more. With the way the V-twin motors, it's a lot more not understandable, but more. I'm trying to think of the word, but the words escape me at this moment. Predictable. There we go. That's the good word. It's a much more predictable delivery.
What companies were instrumental in getting your bike finished?
Wow. Of course, there's my boss, Randall Nadescu, the president of Bellissimoto, putting up with me and ordering parts for this bike. This bike has pieces from Rizoma, CDTR, FMF, Quat D, EVR, Edo Vigno Racing in Italy. There's some of the pioneers for the slipper clutch. This is actually this right here is a EVR slipper clutch. Speedy Moto right here in the good old US of A. They contributed more than a few parts onto this. CNC Racing, based out of Italy. They make billet accessories. Attack Performance. Actually, one of my favorite features on this bike are these rear sets and these pegs made by Attack Performance in California. Very racer setup. And then, you know, the pegs are adjustable in and out, and they break away so you don't lose control of them. And these foot pegs are just phenomenally grippy. I mean, your feet stay on those pegs. It's awesome.
If somebody'd like to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
Well, you can find us online, bellissimoto.com, bellissimoto.com. We're online. Contact us page. Go ahead and get on there. We also have we don't just do Italians. As luck would have it, we're also big fans of the S1000RR. We actually have a sister site called podiumparts.com for the S1000RR, just all for that bike. But we love anything with two wheels. It's all about the two wheels. I mean, I have frequently found out that me plus four wheels is never a good mix. But me with two wheels, that's how I'm meant to be.
Lyle, thank you very much.
Thank you.